Shemos starts with Rosh Yeshiva said it says Eli Shemos Bnei Yisrael Haboyim Mitzrayim, that are coming to Mitzrayim. That's a Lashon Hove, in other words, present terminology. They came to Mitzrayim. So what's the point of what he's saying? They're coming to Mitzrayim. They're not coming to Mitzrayim. They came to Mitzrayim. So he said the Ikir of a Yid were always coming. We didn't come. In other words, there is no. We never came to stay. We never came to be part of the country. We never came for what he called. We came because we have to be here for whatever time we have to be here until you kick us out, or whatever it is there. And that's the way the Yidden lived all the years in Golos. In other words, we don't belong here. We're different. And therefore, we're just guests here. So therefore, it's always Haboy Mitzrayim, when you're coming for whatever short period. The same thing when Pari asked them, why are you here? We didn't come to stay. We just came because it's hunger in Eretz Canaan, so we came here. But it's not because we came to be part of your country. And so we're not moving here and stuff like that. The Mitzvah says we move here because nobody else wants us. We left Europe, so we came here. That's not because of we came here. I mean, just as easily to move from here when people move to Switzerland or then to Canada or whatever it is there. In other words, it's a stopover. Wherever we feel like going, that's where we'll go. It's a different world. But so that was the... okay. Now, this is pretty much an impossibility. If we're talking about that Yosef changed the whole parameters of what the Keich of Paro was. Also the fact of that, it's a historical fact, the year of the big, what do you call it, in 1816 was called the year of no summer. There was no summer that year. What does it mean there was no summer? Karakoa blew up and it covered the sun. The whole island blew up, and it made a shield on the sun that I don't remember what day it was to happen, and because of that, the sun never got hot. It wasn't a summer that year. It was the case of getting the summer, get 90 degrees. You didn't get 90 degrees. It was only 60 or 50 or 70, whatever it was, even in the summertime. That was the pshat. So you remember it even now. Why do you mean by now? Because I read it somewhere. Right? What made you read it? Because it was in a book, because they pass it down. So if there was that hunger in Mitzrayim, especially on the thing over there, and Yosef came along and he saved the people and he got all the things and whatever. Besides the fact that he took all the money, that all the land now belongs to Paro and everything is, and everyone, of course we're going to know that. I mean, you're only 100 years later, so I mean, what do you mean you don't know? Levos, Pshat is, so I don't want to know, or whatever it is this. So he learns a different way, right? The Targum. Become Malka Chadatal Mitzrayim Lo Mekayim Gzeras Yosef. They wasn't Mekayim the Gzeras of Yosef. What were the Gzeras of Yosef? So this is a little bit different. There's a Yalkut that says that this thing took place a little bit backwards. In other words, the people in Mitzrayim wanted to get rid of the Jews because they were all over the place. And he came to Paro, and Paro felt dedicated to Mitzrayim, to Yosef, and this, and his friendly, and they kicked Paro out of being king, and therefore, and in order for him to get back in, because like you see what people do to get back and get their jobs back, they were able to be model everything they want, so that's what did the same thing over there, that he said, okay, so I become the leader of the persecuting the Jews, okay. But Lamaisa, that's a medrash, that's not understandable. If the Torah says, I own Mitzrayim, who's threatening me to get rid of me? I mean, if he owned Mitzrayim, In other words, like in everything, they moved everybody away. There's no interest in revolution because nobody's getting back their land. They don't feel, what do you call it? They're getting, as far as technically, it's a 20% tax system. So, we can live with that. We live with a bigger system than that now. So what's your problem? So people can live with it. So therefore, there was no revolution. So thinking kasha, there was no revolution. But what do you call it? So I'm saying, so I think what happened was the other way. Hara sees being threatened that the Yidden are taking over the place. So he's telling to the people, we got to do something about it. And they said to him, why? What do we have to do about it? We got nothing to lose. Will be your evidence, their evidence. What difference it make? You're the one that owns. Oh, so you can have it back. It's your land now. Your land now. You got something to lose. You got something to lose. Now you got to join me to get rid of the Jews. So that would be the opposite of the medrash. Like, so I think I don't understand the medrash. Okay. And there the question becomes, what was their purpose in this slavery? Because it's not so pashut, piece of Ramses. On one hand, they were considered the fanciest places around, right? But they never finished building them because they kept building it on quicksand. So when it got to a certain level, it would collapse, and they have to start all over again. So this is the type of work that they were doing. So the person then becomes, what would be the purpose of having avodim? I mean, why do you need a slave for if you don't want anything from him, right? So that was something that bothered me. Now, if you learned that the work was not really for a purpose to create something because we need it, you're just wasting time. So it's a crazy thing. I mean, even in the Depression time, when they had this, Roosevelt, what did he do? He made guns of teams that went out. They built highways, they built the roads, wherever they were. Why? Because they had to give employment to the people. People had to eat, and there was no money, there was no jobs. So he created jobs from the government that they gave him. So they gave him food, and meanwhile they built an infrastructure. He built the whole, the east side, the FDR Drive at that time was built, and whatever it is, things like that, and other things. They chopped down trees. They were doing work. For there was a tachlis though to the work. In other words, it wasn't something that exists, but something just to do work that have no teyelis. I mean, what's the purpose of it? So obviously, I want to tell you the way the whole system worked. I mean, you have a problem. One of the not all states have any more a prison system anymore. What they do is they rent it out. They sell or they auction off or whatever it is there. Or they think that a private company will run prisons, and they will pay per customer, per what do you call it, per prisoner a certain amount of money, and you do it, and then the one who gets it, it's like for a hospital, and and you'll supply the building, you'll supply the guards, you'll supply the what do you call that you have there, but they don't have any more that's part of the state, because the state, it becomes too big a yoch to hold. You need 10,000 guards, and you need things, and then what happens? You only have 1,000 prisoners, so you're overburdened. You're under, it costs too much. So this is a cheaper way of doing things. Whatever it is, these are other things there. So that's the way you want to do it. So again, there's a financial cheshbon. There's a cheshbon of how come a government does something the way they do it. Over here, it seems that if you're doing peace and Ramses, was constantly being rebuilt, it seems to be costing them money to, first of all, to feed the Jews. If they're prisoners, when they're avodim, so they can't make money themselves. So therefore, that seems to be what they were doing. So they'll break the country. What's the shayla? If you're not getting anything, and all you do is paying out, so it's going to break you. So I want to tell you that the economy was a little bit different in that time. The Jews owned everything. And the problem that had to be was to get the Mitzrayim didn't feed the Yidden. In other words, where you're in prison, it's your job to eat. You want to eat, you have to buy your own food. What do you call it? No such thing, we feed you. You have to buy your own food. You don't have any money, that's your problem. But what was the purpose of it? Because the Egyptians were interested in getting the money back from the Jews. So this way they took them out of being the doorkeepers of Mitzrayim, and they took over Mitzrayim. That means everything was owned by Pari, and so therefore all commerce was owned by the Jews. He made them avodim. Now the Mitzrayim have it. So what happens to this? So the economy now, by the Jews having to buy the stuff and do everything they have to do themselves, will automatically bring their money back into the Egyptian economy, and after a while they'll have their money back. So that's why they don't want to get rid of the Jews. They want to get the money out of them. And so let's say, why did they just come and take the money? I can't answer that question in reality, but you have the same kasha on the Nazis, that they didn't just make laws that you can do it. They made the Nuremberg laws. Why did they make Nuremberg laws? Why do you have to make Nuremberg laws? You don't like Jews? So just throw out, that's all. What's the kasha? No, it has to be legal. If it's not legal, could be in 20 years from now, 100 years from now, you'll sue us, and you'll have to be So they had to make on Kristallnacht, they made a law that all insurance companies were patel from paying for the glass, for all the damage done on Kristallnacht, whatever it is. If you wouldn't have made that law, somewhere along the line you'll break the economy of Germany by being able to suing for all the damages that were done that night. So I'm saying, so this is the Zachen that you have. You see it now also, the ones that keep paying repatriation in different places. Poland started to pay, other places, because they feel they can pay it, right? The ones that feel they can't pay it are not paying it. After a while, we paid enough already. They want to do the same thing in America. They all of a sudden, I remember the Misa was what they wanted. California wanted to pay $3 million for every Schwarz in the country for payback for the avodim, for the avdus of their great grandparents. And one of the guys, from the legislature there, he said, why should California pay for something that they they never had avodim, and the war that fought to free the avodim was before they became a state. So why should they be chayiv to pay for something that they never were shaykhs to, and stuff like that there. But that was the governor, or whatever it is, wants, the Democrats want to put over there. So I mean, the idea is, it's without cheshbon. If you have money, and we want to give them money, and we feel they're poor, so we want to give you money, so we'll make you give the money, the government will give the money, whoever is going to give the money. All of a sudden you don't have the money, we stop giving the money. So that's the same thing here. So we want to get the money out of the Jews. That's what I think that they wanted to do here. Now, it bothered me always, like, what did the Mitzrayim do? That was terrible. I mean, they made him avodim, okay. All right, it's avodim. It's not a very good thing, and you took advantage of us, And that's why Taki, they had a tiny, it's not that they took advantage of, they had a tiny. How did they get the Jews to be avodim? Supposedly what they did was they asked for volunteers. They wanted the whole Mitzrayim should volunteer to build peace and Ramses. And the Jews, being most patriotic of all, were the first ones to sign up. And everybody signs up. And the first day, everybody works. The second day, they free all the other ones and tell them they can go back to work except for the Jews. And therefore, they now avodim into the thing. That's how they tricked them into becoming avodim. But the contract was never taken away. Now, with the contract, whatever they made were paying X amount of dollars per day's work, that remained. And because of that, in the time of Alexander, when the Mitzrayim came and they said, we want all the money back that the Jews took out of Mitzrayim when they left, and they said this, so Gevir came along and he argued with them and he said, okay, we'll pay them back if he pays us first for the work that we did for 210 years over there that we have to do it. And they came at obviously that would be a lot more than that, so they think that what money do I owe you? We're avodim. No, we weren't. We were what you treated us like avodim, but we were employees of the thing, and you owed us the money because that contract never became bottled. So there's a point where that can come back in the future. They can always collect if you don't get rid of certain things, and you never got rid of it. Okay. But they also, I find it like, the only ones that there's a Tanai on the Gerim that can't come in right away is Amman Amoyev, which can never come into Klal Yisrael, and Edom and Mitzrayim, which takes 3 doros to come into Klal Yisrael. The question is, what is the midah of Mitzrayim that we're trying to keep out? In other words, by Amman Amoyev, we're trying to keep out, even if they're not Maketoiv. From Edom, okay, but what is the point of the Mitzrayim? So I think it's the point that they were cruel. In other words, they didn't have to do the avoid. You could do the same thing as mentioned was an Eved, or you can do it as you do it. I want to punish you. I want to get you. I want to hurt you. That's the point. That was the avla of the Mitzrayim. They were cruel people. And that's, we don't want that meat in Klal Yisrael. Okay. So they made them do it beferach. They could have done the same thing. If I want production from you, I don't need beferach. I just try to make it that it's kedai for you to produce. But if I do it beferach, I want to make it hard for you. So then the ikar is I want to make it hard for you. That's the avla. Okay. So the Melech Mitzrayim calls in the Miyaldas Ivrios, which is a little question there, exactly you're having talk about a mother and daughter team, but you had a lot of Jews here. So how are they running the Miyaldas? So it must be like they were the head Miyaldas or something like that. And I guess Pua was just the daughter, so she was had a special position, but it wasn't. I don't think she was in charge. As opposed to Yocheved, who could have been in charge. She was 100 and something years old. So she's the head nurse of Mitzrayim. So, okay. So she calls him in, and he tells him, Risam alevnoyim, and teaches him a klal, that you can tell a kid, there's halacha, that until the forehead comes out, the kid is still considered in the womb. He's a nubel. It's not a baby yet. So there comes a shayla, let's say the mother and the yubel, and you have to, let's say, if by the birth we'll kill the mother, so we kill the yubel. Because the yubels are etzeh. What happens once this forehead comes out? Now they both exist in the world. So then we don't misharain to kill one over the other one. So whatever happens will happen. So that's the thing. That's the halacha. So he taught him that I want you to kill him. Now the svara to this would be that that the Mitzrayim were still afraid of, again, if they didn't know who God is, and they don't know who the Renishim is, what do they keep his Torah for? So in the Zayin Mitzvahs B'nai Noach, it must have been brought down that they understood that the guy abortion is murder, and a guy is chayiv misa for it. But Yidden, who have a new Torah, whatever it is, to them, it's not, it's ritzicha, but it's not chayiv misa. So therefore, if a Jew does an abortion, he's not chayiv misa. He's efer ritzicha, he's a ritzeach, but l'mais he's not chayiv misa. So for us to do it, to chayiv misa. So if you guys will do it, it won't be chayiv misa. But how do you know to give birth to the kid before you come to know, before you know it's a boy or a girl? The kid comes out head first. You're not going to know a boy or girl until the bottom half comes out. By that time the kid is born, you can't kill him anymore. He's not an uber anymore. He's a baby. So Elavos, Yorisam Alav Noyim, they had a klal that a boy, that they go the way they live together. So the boy will be head face down, and the girl will be face up. So by face, if a kid comes out with face down, you see the hair, not the head. You kill that kid because that's a boy. And if on the other hand you see the other way, so then you leave it alone because it's a girl. Okay, very nice. And I asked this of doctors and everything else, and I got many different answers, but never got one that's true. That's the thing. The first that you get, the doctor gives you a bittel. I'm not talking about former doctors. I'm not talking about freie doctors. They said, nah, it's not true. It's not true, okay, but there's a state, what will you do? They think that, okay, okay, you want to say that, you can say that. Yesh v'yesh, yeah. When you say yesh v'yesh, I can understand. Did you ever check? You saw the babies came this way and this way, you never checked them. You know what happens? Only the boys come out that way and only the girls are that way, you never check. Okay? No. We turn all the babies. That's a new one now. But they turn the babies that come out, I think, face up all the time, I think. So Mamela, you never have the mitzias. We don't know what the natural is. I from a birth in the family that was done shot in the house when it happened. The kid came shooting out face down. So and that was a boy. So I would take the Chazal's word for it, but I can't really say for sure. That's the way it is. But obviously Chazal said so that it's over. Yep. But they themselves, they were Yorei Esukim, so they didn't listen to Pari, and that not only did they not kill the kids, but they made sure that the kids are able to live. So Melech Mitzrayim is a little bit upset about this. He calls them Yaldis, and he says, "So why did you do this?" And they tell him, Abba Maisa, that like Kenoshna Mitzrayim, I mean, I guess he didn't go around with them, so he didn't know whether it's Abba Maisa or not. But they told him that all the babies by Jews are born first. As soon as they know, it's very short labor. That's what they're telling you. That now, by the time the nurse, the time of the Yaldis comes, the baby is born. That means it's a short labor. That's the thing. By the time they call the doctor, yeah. Okay. So God did he did a great thing for them, and what happened? The nation grew and grew. Since the Miyaldas feared HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he made for them Batim Malchias, Batim Kehuna, whatever they think, Ahrens for sure, Batim Kehuna, and even Batim Malchias, when Yifuni gets into it, but whatever it is, they have it how it comes. But Rashi says a very funny thing over here. He says, what was the Hatove? Vayitave Loshen Hut, Yaldus Mahu HaToiva, what is this good thing that he did? Vayazlahem Botim. So he leaves out the middle of the pasuk. L'chayra, it says here that that's not what the Hatava was. The Hatava was Vayitav Elokim Vayirav Hom Atzmoi. That was the Hatava. That the nation became bigger. Whatever it is. Now they were successful in what they were doing. So l'chayra, you say, well, what kind of Hatava is that? I mean, they were still doing mitzvahs. I mean, that's a mitzvah. That's not the Hatava. No, that's Hatava. If you ask anybody that if they're working on something to build something, right? So the thing, whatever they're working on, if you would tell them the price of your success would be that you're going to have aniyus. Let's say a ben Teire, you want to be a Rosh Yeshiva, a Rebbe, biggest marbitz Teire around, right? You're going to be the biggest marbitz Teire around, but you're going to eat bread and water for the rest of your life, right? Will you take the deal? I'm sure many people will sign up for it, of course. This is what I want to do, so of course I'm going to sign up for that, right? So people, we found, and even in our generation, Mother Teresa, the guy that's more common. That's why I'm picking that name, even though we call Mother Teresa. Was that she lived among lepers, right? Why? Because she felt she was doing something to alleviate their tzar and whatever it is. When I was a kid, we had in our history books with Dr. Schweitzer, that was around in the 30s, or something, that was living in North Africa, or something like that, that was living with either lepers or also some type of a disease that was trying to help him out in there. So the guy is giving up living among normal people, living in the jungles, and backwards with sick people, the sakone, everything. Why? Because that way he became famous and became what he called it. That's the price you pay for it. That's what you do for it. That's when everyone pays for fame and everything else. So this is my price. So what was their kavanah? Their kavanah was to make Klal Yisrael bigger. So you were successful, Baruch Hashem. So that's what the biggest reward is. We were great. We were successful, right? So see, that's the reward. So then it says, what? But there was a secondary reward. For what reason? Because they were Yoel Ekim. So that we gave him Botim. So that was a secondary thing. I said, we find the same thing. He does this by Lavan also, Rashi. And they say, whatever it is, then over there also I read back in that Lavan was, in other words, he saw, what did he see by on the hands of Rivka, in other words, and stuff that he wanted. He figured he get a good tip he's going to get, so that's why he ran out, But that doesn't seem to work with what the psukim say over there. So again, the same idea that there's some saying. So why Rashi learned that, I don't know, but that's what difference Rashi is. Then what happens? He saw that obviously he didn't have the nurses doing the job anymore, and now they're telling him the Mashiach Hashem is born today. Okay, now it's a question, do I commit murder? So all of a sudden self-preservation, all of a sudden he commits murder. Even he didn't want to commit murder before, but all of a sudden we commit murder. And we say stepwise it goes, or pshat is that he was always loyal to do it, except this, if I don't have to, I don't have to. I wasn't afraid of doing it. Okay. So it's interesting. They could have put over here his name, Vayelech Amram, whatever it is, Vayitzo, and Vayikach is Yechevet Deitosai, and that would have been a very good thing. They left it out. Why? We'll talk about in a second. And then put it first in Parshas Va'era. And in Parshas Va'era, in order to put it in, how do you get it in to talk about them even? He had to start Eilu Rosh B'nai Yisrael. He had to start. So he starts from there, from Parshas Yudah, about 14 psukim, whatever it is, the extra psukim. Well, he could have done it in 3 words and said the same thing, because the only reason he's doing it over there is to show the yichus of Moshe and Aaron. So we could have put it here. So the Shiva used to say that the reason is, it says Vayar Kitov, Vateroisei Kitov, the house lit up, whatever it is there. Moshe Rabbeinu had fantastic potential that they saw, but he was a baby. We didn't realize any of his potential. Nothing to brag about. See how smart my kids are? Why does the guy brag about how smart his kids are? Because my kids are smart, so I'm smart too. So therefore, you machshiv me. That's the point. You're not interested in the kids. The kids didn't learn nothing. No. But my kid's smart. I'm also smart. That's what he wants, right? But the idea is that there's nothing to take credit for. What did you do with your smarts, and what did your kid do with his smarts? Nothing. So therefore, there's nothing to brag about. Abel, in Vayeva, you became the Mashiach Hashem already. You're now coming in to take the kids out of Mitzrayim. Now it's time to tell us who are my parents. Who's Moshe and Aaron's parents. Okay. And the Shaila is, how did you land up with a yichus I want to give to the mother? Why there's only one Moshe Rabbeinu in history? Why isn't there more? Okay, no one was born with his kishreinus, but almost his kishreinus. Or at least the stories was like, this guy was as big as Akiva and this. Those names we do throw around, don't throw around Rabbi Akiva, but we throw around and Akiva, this we do throw around. So obviously we can somehow imagine it. So if there be something, why is there nothing to imagine? So I find it that the only woman in history that we find that got paid to raise her own kid. Right? What's the problem always with parents? Right? The parent or the mother, we have a lot of women that will say, I'm not going to work. I'd rather have a poorer living, or what do you call it, and whatever it is there. I don't need that. But this way, my kids, when I raise them, they'll have the full love of the parent. And I'll teach them the right way. On the other hand, there's other parents that say, if I take care of my own kid, I can only give him partial time because I have a husband, I have other children. I can only give partial of my time to them. Abel, on the other hand, if I hire a babysitter, they'll take care of only my kid, so they'll be totally dedicated to my kid. But I won't have the love that I would have. So which is better, right? What happened if you have the love of the mother and you're totally dedicated and you work the whole day with taking care of your kid, right? Now, as if Amram came in, she was working for Baspari to take care of Moshe, right? So Amram comes in and he says, dear, I'm hungry. Can you make me lunch? And she'll say, sorry, husband, I'm working now. I'm working for Basi. I can't take off now. I can't stop. You don't expect a woman that's working to come home and make lunch for her husband, right? And we know that every girl that doesn't work, all of a sudden she's the president of the PTA, she's the president of the Bika Chaylim, she's the president of everything else. Why? Because you're not doing anything anyway, so what difference does it make? So she never teaches her kid, never talks to her kid, never does everything there, and she doesn't make any money either. So that's the Zachendoten. So who says it's a mile and the idea of it? But these are the things. But the only mother that got was Yocheved, was able to get back. The Bein Shem did it to teach you a lesson that sometimes at the lowest point, and this is a lot of people have to think about this in their own life. Sometimes there's a low point in life, financially generally. Even maybe some old sarconic, whatever it is there, but you feel it. You feel that fear, and whatever it is there, and then all of a sudden there's a miraculous saving, and that was what happened here. You were so afraid of losing your son, you put him in the river. You don't know what's going to happen to him or anything else, right? At the same token, what happens a minute later? All of a sudden you're getting paid to take care of your own kid. What kind of deal is that? I mean, that's fantastic. I mean, but You had a year shadas, but you see the keich of the Rebbeinu Shalom, how you can turn something around and make it all of a sudden you're making money taking care of your own kid, which is an impossibility. Okay? So this is the thing that the Rebbeinu Shalom does sometimes to give a person a shtickle chizuk to show I exist. But the next Nisayan doesn't work necessarily so partial. Next one, he wants to see, I want to see if you learned your lesson from the first time. And you have the tochen the second time or not. Or if Shad is, I have the tochen until all of a sudden I don't know what's going to be, and whatever it is, and then all of a sudden. So you may flunk that test. That's what I'm saying. The first one, but you'll find there is a first one. That's what I'm saying. Not everyone will find somehow there's a first one. Okay, anyway, there's one purpose also in this Indian of Moshe Rabbeinu being found by Bas Pari and going to being brought up in Beis Pari, in the palace, that there was never a history between Klal Yisrael and Moshe Rabbeinu. In other words, the kasha people ask, why didn't Klal Yisrael pick Aaron to be Moshe Rabbeinu is not here anymore? Okay, so Aaron's not the leader. They're saying Dalton. And Aaron, they were used to having him as the leader because before Moshe Rabbeinu came, he was the leader. He was the Navi. You're talking about a 2-year probably hiatus. It's about the most that we're talking about. That from the time he came back till after the Ma'aseh Egel, it's 2 years, not even that, or maybe even a year. So that you're talking about, that the thing is, in that short period of time, they forgot about Aaron already. No, they didn't forget about Aaron. Except that Aaron, when they wanted to take him, there were people that said, Aaron? I remember Aaron when he used to jump over all over the benches when he was a little kid. I don't want to take Aaron's going to be the leader. What are you, kid? They think that he's you still remember him as a kid, as a poor person, as a this. It's hard to take. So you take a kalb from the Vaitan, that's a Loshen by Shidduchim. This is very common that the people do this. In other words, to take an egg in a guy, there's something wrong. He's this chasol, that chasol. But it's a nothing. The chesronis are not really chesronis. But you know what they are anyway. And everything else is perfect. So for the little bit of thing there, you don't want. But so what are you going to take? You're going to take a kalb, a calf, from somewhere else. How do you know who that guy is? Oh, do you hear what they say about him? Right? Okay, that's what you're building it on, a reputation. Or a baba maisa. Whereas the kid said, I want to be a chassid, but you're only 12 years old. Yeah, but I want to be the best bach in the yeshiva. He said, that was automatically, you're a chassid, you're the best bach in the yeshiva. So that was the idea. So it's a baba maisa. So the minute can cup, you don't know what you're getting, so why are you doing it? Saying that's the nature of people. Okay, but they should have taken us the same. That's what it is. The Metzius is, so Moshe Rabbeinu was never brought up as a regular person. He was always brought up as a melech. So when he came back, it's a difference in how you stand. There's a difference in, it's not even gaiva, you call it. It's someone that described it to me once in the nobility in England, that if you're a member of nobility, there's a certain, it's a gaiva, obviously, that we are better than the rest of the people. You stand straighter, you look taller, whatever it is there. It's a different way of looking at things, as talking and walking and stuff with it. It's a strut instead of what do you call it? It's I'm a balabos, whatever it is there. It's a different thing. So Moshe Rabbeinu, so he was a melech, and even after he leaves Mitzrayim and stuff, he was a melech in Kush for 40 years. So he was a royalty and then stuff like that. Anyway, and when he goes out, and he wants to see what's going on. In other words, he's brought up in the palace now, and he wants to see what's going on. And he has his plan, and the Rebbeinu Shalom has his plan. Okay. I don't know why the Bench wasn't masking to Moshe's plan, that I can't answer you. But the Bench, I believe, Moshe Rabbeinu is being brought up in Beis Pari. He's brought up, she took her son. In other words, well, I don't know how the laws of, what he called were, of succession, but I'm assuming that L'chayri is not part of the family. So what was the thing there? Except that since he's being raised in the palace as Bas Para's son, and the son over there, and now the question is, who is the most capable of the children in the palace to be the next Pari? Could be Moshe Rabbeinu. Figured he's going to be the next Pari because he did have all the kishreines of Moshe Rabbeinu. So obviously, whatever the H's were fixing up for time. So his plan was, and I'll bring my right to this in a minute, that his plan was that Hashem, when he'll become Pari, he'll free the Yidden. I don't have to do anything about it now. I don't have to antagonize Pari now. I don't have to get involved. I will be the next Pari, and whatever it is there. And Bein Shalom wants to frustrate this problem. He doesn't want him that way. I don't know why, but the pshat is because either, if you get in there, it can be a hard changeover all of a sudden for this thing or whatever. You won't have the Ruchnius effect on Klal Yisrael. I don't know what exactly would be the problem. But so the Ibn Ezra learns Vayetze El Echav doesn't say El Echav HaYehudim, El Echav HaMitzrim. He went out to his brothers, the Mitzrim. What are they? They're not my brothers. Yes, they are your brothers. You're treating them like your brothers. You're living as a Mitzri. And he went out there with his Mitzri, was thing there. So he went out there, so the Benishim made what? They would see this story of a Mitzri hitting a Yid, and what will happen? Now, a person can lose himself. In other words, you can get so angry at something that all your plans that you thought about will go out the window, because he had a plan that I'm going to live as a Mitzri, and I'm ultimately going to free the Jews, right? Right now I see a Mitzri hitting a Yid, I can't control myself, and I go and I kill him. I don't know what can happen by killing him, because obviously somebody could have seen me. Now for sure they would have seen you. You would have even on film, probably doing the thing over there, because everybody has this camera. We'll pull it out, and they would have taken the thing there. They would have caught you right away. And there's stuff over there. There's no secrets. So over there, Moshe Rabbeinu looked wherever he looked, but he didn't see. You don't see everything over there. So he obviously wasn't careful, and it wasn't enough, and all his plans fall out the window, and he's forced to leave Mitzrayim. And then, of course, Benishim does his own Nisim, different Nisim, he comes back again as Moshe Rabbeinu, and doesn't make a difference. But I'm just saying that you can have plans to do things one way, and the Benishim has plans to do things another way. And obviously the Benishim's plans are always going to be that way. Okay, he went out the second day, he sees what he called Dosim Vavirim having a fight, and whatever it is, and they threaten him, and he gets scared, and they take a squeal on him, and they catch him, and they try to kill him, and they can't kill him, so he runs away. He runs away to Midian, and whatever it is. Okay, and that's where he lands up in Midian, and over there he marries Tzipora. But this is how many years later? This is talking about, don't forget, he went to Cush first, 40 years after. So this is before he comes back to Mitzrayim, in the last 10 years, before he comes back to Mitzrayim. Okay. Anyway, he marries and he has a kid, and he calls Gershon. Now here it doesn't tell you about Eliezer's name, but in Parshas Yisroi, it tells you he came with both children, Shem, what do you call Eliezer? Shem Abba. ושני בנונר, אשר שמו אחד גרשון, כי גרמה, כי יהו איזו ארץ נוכריה, ושמו אחד אליעזר, כי אלוקי אבי, ועזר יצילנו מחרב פרי. So if you're going historically, which name should he have given first? He should have given Eliezer first, because he was saved from Cherav Pari before he was in Eretz Nochriya. If he wasn't saved from Eretz Pari, never would have made it to Eretz Nochriya. Right? So how come he named his kid Gershon first? So Shiva said that if he would have named the kid the other way, he wouldn't be thankful that he was thankful he was saved from Pari. That means I can live in Mitzrayim, I can live in Midian and be happy here. That's the biggest mistake. You can't be. So the first thing is I'm an Eretz Nochriya. That's the thing. I recognize I'm a ger here. I don't belong here. I'm here for whatever it is there. I belong in Eretz Yisrael, or at least Mitzrayim with the Yidden and Goshen, but I don't belong here. So that is the first thing I have to know. Secondly, now that I realize that I recognize where I don't belong, I now can thank God for saving me. But if I think I belong, I can't thank God for saving me anymore, because you already are assimilated enough that you think you belong here, and that's the biggest mistake. Okay. And then what he called and okay, he got tougher. Simon died, and the mention is now it's time. He got to the point where the Bensham said it's time. Moshe Rabbeinu, and this is a little bit as the geographic part of the way we have it. Prior to the Efrim Accords, which is 2 years ago, 3 years ago, no, 4 years ago at least, it was under Trump. So then prior to that, the assumption was that Har Sinai was in the Sinai Desert. And the Yidden, they came out of Mitzrayim, crossed either those two little waterways that cut the Sinai Peninsula apart with part of the Red Sea. Where they crossed that, and therefore that was where Har Sinai was, and there was thing there. After the Efrim Accords, they claim in Saudi Arabia that Har Sinai is in Saudi Arabia. And the Yidden crossed the Kriyas Yamsuf, not over there, but opposite Saudi Arabia, where the Yamsuf is about 200 miles wide. And that makes a lot of sense then, because to have only the Mitzrayim, or the Mitzrayim and the Yidden in the water at the same time, would not fit in these little waterways. So it can't be there really. I don't know why them people think about it that way, or it did, or maybe that's what they did. But in the 200 miles, you can have it. So you have Klal Yisrael, which is about 4 million people, and going down. They're spread out. I'm sure they're not marching columns of 4, and what do you call it, not many columns. They're spread out. This guy's like this, and this guy's dragging over here, and this guy's over there, and you're walking. And behind them is coming an army behind them, which is chasing after them, which is out to kill all of them. So it's got to be a big enough army to be able to do that. So in Mela, you have to have a big yam to be able to hold this. And their thing there. And what do you call it? If it fits also, how come, where is Midian compared to this is Har Sinai, where the Beis was coming to. So if he's in the Sinai desert, Midian's on the other side of the Yarden, right? It's in the western side of the Yarden. The eastern side of the Yarden. It's in the eastern side of the Yarden. So, how do you get to Har Sinai? How do you get to Yerushalayim? Maybe. But if you're talking about Har Sinai, that's a 100-mile walk. I mean, who takes his sheep 100 miles for a trip for 100 miles? Taking them just to get them to pasture. So obviously, it would be more sense if Midian I've seen maps that Midian is close near Edom, which is in Saudi Arabia, not in what he calls. So therefore, it's really down there, Midian. So if Midian's down there, to get to Har Sinai, the guy would have to go a tremendous amount of distance to get to Har Sinai. But if it's in Saudi Arabia, it's Har Sinai, so it's right there. So there's no kashas. I'm saying I can't answer you. I don't know what the truth. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of books written on this now, so it doesn't make a difference. So you'll read one, you'll see what they say. I didn't see the places, so I can't answer you anyway. Okay. Anyway, so the Rebbeinu comes, and you see here an Indian of Midas, which is a very important thing. Moshe Rabbeinu had tremendous Midas as far as tznius, and not so much yoreh, he was afraid physically to look at Hashem, but it means that he had what he calls a reimamus, that how could I look at the Rebbeinu Shalom, right? And therefore, the secret that Moshe Rabbeinu wanted to understand, Harleys verse 4 later on, when he went by Luchas Shnius, is that the Rebbeinu Shalom says, I'm not giving it to you. You can't see it. Le'yani odem v'chai. Exactly what the Rambam is going to do with that, I don't know, because he was pshat that it's a mitzias, a finite human cannot understand infinity. So therefore, that's Ponai, you can't understand. But I'll give you the madrega of Achoirai that you can understand. But mashma from the Medrash, that if he would have been wanted to look at now, you would have seen him, you would have understood, right? But he was afraid to. So Mamela, you didn't want. When I wanted, you didn't want. That's a lotion. And when you want, I don't want. So that's the passion. So he lost something, but because of his tznius that he did this, he gained other things that he gets. So therefore, the midas ha'adam, that a person does something, it's not black and white. You do it, it's all good or bad. It's because there's you're showing certain things in what you're doing. So maybe you get schar for that. You didn't want other things, you lose that. So that goes different things. Okay. Yeah. I would say that the Gigoshi already had left at this time, because he only mentions 6 nations. He doesn't mention the Gigoshi. So I assume that at that time already the Gigoshi must have left. Otherwise, why didn't he mention them? At least because they didn't do tshuva yet. Yeah. And I'm going to send you to Paro, and you'll take the Jews out. And I would assume that the assumption of Moshe Rabbeinu at this time was that we need a shliach, that it's just to make the official announcement to Paro, let my people go, and he's going to listen, right? Not that he has to do something about it personally. And that we'll see when we get to Parshas Va'era, that it could be that was his error at this point, why it didn't work. Okay. Anyway, and then he says, I'm giving you a siman, that the siman that I sent you will be that when you come out of Mitzrayim, you're going to get Kabbalas HaTorah on this mountain, right? I'm coming to you a year before to take you out. At that time, I need the siman. How do I get a siman? At that time, you don't need a siman. At that time, people will listen to you because they're in trouble. Anybody that's going to come and say, I'm going to help you, they're listening to them right away. That's not a problem. But when later, when they're free already, and everything else, and now you want to prove that you got to listen to the Torah because he did it, so how you know that was true? Now you have to have proof. So that was why it's going to be later on you'll need the proof. Not now, you don't need the proof. And the and who sent you? Elia sent you. Who's Elia? Elia is only the Savior. The Savior meaning, I don't think Elia Asher Elia means I will always be there. In other words, you're going to have this trouble, you're going to have Vayisrisha, you're going to have Vayisheni. you're going to have gullus that we're in, and everything this, you're always going to need me, and I'm always going to be there. But don't tell them, because by that time they got enough tzolos now. So just tell them, and go gather up the Jews and tell them what he called. So in there, he did say that you're going to get them, because he says, go get them. So obviously you're going to be able to do that, right? Moshe Rabbeinu didn't believe that. He didn't think that they're going to come, right? So that's what you're arguing about. So the Brancham told you it's going to happen. You're arguing with him. So obviously he didn't tell me directly it's going to happen. The second time he told him, go and do it, and whatever it is, then Moshe Rabbeinu went without a shayla. But the first time, when you're telling me they're not going to listen, they're not coming, they're not, what do you call it, whatever it is. Okay, we'll go Shloshis Yomim. The kasha always you have is, what happened if Pari would have listened to the Shloshis Yomim? And he would have let him go for 3 days. What would have been? It could be they would have been able to last the other 190 years. In other words, the reason they had to go out, because you see 4/5 clouds or whatever it is, Chamushim only went out, is that the matzav was such that they couldn't last any longer than being in Mitzrayim. So what's the lashon? What he called Be'ita Ahishena, right? So normally we want to learn the taich that Be'itoi, that's if you're not zoiche, so I'll bring you when the time has come, and if you're zoiche, I'll bring you earlier Achishena. That seems that's the way we're dashing it. I want to learn, maybe you can learn the opposite. Achishena is if you're royu l'kach. But I mean, we can't list it, Achishena. Be'itoi, I'll get it to you, I'll make it later for you, so you have more people coming out. In other words, the reason why you didn't have more people coming out than the Chamushim was because we couldn't make any Bali Tshuva. The Benishim, what's going to do? The Benishim lost it Lovay, Novi, well, you called that he's he's going to do the Tshuva movement, right? So therefore, you're going to have people to come back with you. But without that, you're not going to have anybody. So I need that one. So I need time to be able to get the people to join us. So if you have time to wait, so we can wait. How you need 400 years, we'll make up different 400 years. If we need to hurry up, we'll get 400 years from the time Yitzchak is born. We don't have to run in your hurry up, so we'll give you 400 years from the time you went down to Mitzrayim. It doesn't make a difference. I can play numbers. Numbers we can play all the time. It doesn't make it, as long as the number fits. That's the that goes up. So that's what it would have. That would have been that would have been the itay. So I would have made an itay that would have been later. Give you a few years to get them to be Bali Tshuva, and then you'll have more people coming out of Mitzrayim. But if I can't wait, so what am I do? I got to take you out now. So I got to make a different number. So I take you out over there, and that's the way we go. All right. Anyway, good Shabbos. About next week, Yirtzeh Hashem. I don't know what my schedule is, but Lamais, they will let you know. I believe I should be here for Shabbos. I mean, I'm not here for Shabbos, but I should be here Friday.
Early morning.
Early morning.